The military tries recruiting anime fans. I wonder if they allow body pillows in basic training. President Biden celebrates his 81st birthday, leading to a candle shortage in Washington. And the Biden impeachment inquiry is definitely happening. Maybe. Someday. Possibly. That and more on this week's headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. I'd like to start off by offering my condolences to all the family members of Black Friday shoppers that didn't make it. And now to the headlines. The Army and the Marines set up booths at the NYC Anime Convention. The U.S. military is having a tough time finding volunteers. It's gotten so bad that they're now asking soldiers dismissed for refusing to take the COVID-19 vaccine to come back into the service. But I mean, this makes sense. A weeb fighting for his waifu. What could be more powerful? Now the Marines' motivational cry is going to go from "Hoorah!" to "Hoorah!" The Supreme Court announced it will now have a formal code of conduct. This is in response to ethical concerns over Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas accepting gifts and vacations from billionaires he claims are just friends. The justices say this new official code will set the record straight, explaining the absence of a code, however, has led in recent years to the misunderstanding that the justices of this court, unlike all other jurists in the country, regard themselves as unrestricted by any ethics rules. To dispel this misunderstanding, we are issuing this code, which largely represents a codification of principles that we have long regarded as governing our conduct. So it went from an unwritten rule to a written rule. Honestly, I think we should do that with more unwritten rules so there's less confusion. Like when someone lets you merge in front of them, you put your hand up as a way of saying thanks. Not doing that should get those ungrateful savages a ticket and points on their license. However, the court has no way of enforcing the new ethics code, so this comes across less as a rule and more like an early New Year's resolution. We're going to try really hard to not have any ethical violations, at least until February. Speaking of courts, a federal appeals court ruled that only the U.S. government could sue to enforce the Voting Rights Act. Historically, citizens or advocacy groups have sued to enforce the Voting Rights Act, but this court ruling challenges that practice. This ruling stems from a legal battle brought forth by an Arkansas branch of the NAACP over district maps they say dilute the power of black voters. The Federal Appeals Court ruled against them, with Circuit Judge David Strauss citing Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits voting practices that discriminate on the basis of race. He explains, for much of the last half-century, courts have assumed that Section 2 is privately enforceable. A deeper look has revealed that this assumption rests on flimsy footing. So essentially, should this ruling find its way to the Supreme Court and stand, if a state does something that people think infringes on their right to vote, their only recourse is to ask the state that passed the law to challenge itself, which I'm sure will be fine. Because if governments are known for anything, it's being self-reflective, honest, and not at all power-hungry. I mean, it's not like just this week Oregon Senator Ron Wyden alleged that there's a secret program that involves the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy paying AT&T to let cops search Americans' phone records without a warrant. It's apparently called the Hemisphere Project. And after the break, President Biden celebrates his 81st birthday. Welcome back. Happy belated birthday to President Joe Biden, who turned 81 this week. He celebrated while performing the annual tradition of pardoning Thanksgiving turkeys, which is appropriate since 81-year-olds and turkeys are both known for their loose neck meat. Biden's birthday also started a fresh new round of debates over whether or not he was too old to be president. Though to be fair, Biden's everything prompts debate about if he's too old to be president. The way he licks an ice cream cone? I bet a younger president would make less of a mess. According to Politico, even Biden's presidential campaign argues about his age, specifically how to address it with voters. Some in his camp are saying they should point out that Biden is only 3.5 years older than Donald Trump, and others are saying they should present his age not as a weakness, but a strength, as a sign of experience. They're also encouraging him to joke about it, which he did on his birthday.
I just want you to know it's difficult turning 60. Difficult.
Yeah. The only issue, though, is when an 81-year-old says it's difficult turning 60, a lot of people can't tell if that's a punchline or dementia. OpenAI, the company responsible for the influential AI software ChatGPT, fired Sam Altman as their CEO. This is shocking, as Sam Altman has become the face of artificial intelligence, which is impressive since for decades, the face of artificial intelligence was Agent Smith. And what a handsome face. OpenAI says Altman was fired after a deliberate review process by the board, which concluded that he was not consistently candid in his communications with them, hindering its ability to exercise its responsibilities. Which is quite the accusation coming from corporate board members. Corporate board members accusing someone of not being truthful and straightforward is like Kanye accusing someone of being problematic. Like, maybe they're right, but come on, you know? OpenAI co-founder Greg Brockman quit his job as chairman of the board in protest of Altman's firing, accompanied by 3 senior OpenAI researchers. After that, OpenAI immediately considered rehiring Altman, but Microsoft, which has a huge stake in OpenAI, swooped in and hired Altman along with Brockman and the 3 researchers who quit in protest. Microsoft's stock hit an all-time high after these new hirings. This was such a poor decision. Over 2/3 of OpenAI staff threatened to quit. Microsoft said they would be happy to hire them should they leave as well. In a memo, employees demanded all OpenAI board members step down and Altman and Brockman be returned to their positions. Amid all this pressure, OpenAI brought Altman back as CEO under a new board of directors. Firing Altman was such a monumentally bad business decision from OpenAI, future students will study it. Well, I guess not, since future students won't study anything, since their work will be done by AI. Speaking of people many feel should leave their jobs in disgrace, the IRS. Thanks to a new IRS rule, 30 million new 1099-K tax forms were sent to U.S. citizens who earned revenue through third-party payment sites such as Venmo and PayPal. The new rule, passed in 2021, lowers the threshold for receiving a 1099-K tax form from making $20,000 per year to $600 per year. Supposedly, this won't affect personal transactions like sending a friend or family member money over Venmo. But you know what this means? Suddenly, businesses are going to try even harder to act like they're your best friend. You want me to buy your kombucha and mark it as a personal transaction? Sure, soon as you help me move, pal. The House Ways and Means Committee has criticized this new rule, saying thanks to Democrats, more Americans who mow lawns or sell concert tickets and used coaches through Venmo or PayPal will have those transactions scrutinized by the IRS starting in January 2024, thanks to a lower reporting threshold for IRS Form 1099-K. And the U.S. Government Accountability Office said that the additional forms could result in mass confusion. Responding to the backlash, the IRS announced they would delay implementation of this new rule for another year to avoid taxpayer confusion. This is the 2nd year in a row the IRS has delayed this new rule. I don't know why anyone's upset about this, though. This would just lead to more tax revenue the government can use. And when has the government ever wasted our tax dollars? I challenge you to give one example when the government wasted U.S. tax dollars. Just write it in the comments below. I dare ya. And after the break, the rich emit the most carbon. Welcome back. According to a study of global climate inequality, the richest 1% of humanity produces more carbon emissions than the poorest 66%. That's outrageous. We need to raise awareness about this. And who better to do that than a celebrity like Leonardo DiCaprio? To spread this message far and wide, we should fly him on private jets as often as possible. That ought to help. Honestly, I'm surprised Leonardo DiCaprio is so into Mother Nature. After all, she's older than 25. The CEOs of Discord, Snap, and X were subpoenaed by the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee to testify at a December 6 hearing on online child sexual exploitation. Meta and TikTok CEOs agreed to appear and testify voluntarily. In a joint statement, Lindsey Graham and Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Dick Durbin say Big Tech's failure to police itself at the expense of our kids cannot go unanswered. Hearing from the CEOs of some of the world's largest social media companies will help inform the committee's efforts to address the crisis of online child sexual exploitation. Since this is something the government clearly cares so much about, maybe this means we can also get that Epstein client list. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says House Republicans are moving even closer to filing an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. This week, they subpoenaed Leslie Wolf, a deputy to Special Counsel David Weiss, who investigated Hunter Biden. Here's McCarthy explaining the situation.
We have systematically followed every place the facts have taken us each and every day. And now it's moved even closer because now we've got the subpoenas going in to get the bank statements.
This impeachment inquiry is like watching two kids square up on the playground for 5 straight minutes. Either fight or don't. You're blocking the monkey bars. Biden is accused of enriching himself and his family with foreign money from authoritarian regimes. Even if this leads to an actual impeachment hearing, Republicans don't have enough votes in Congress to remove Biden from office. The same way Democrats didn't have enough votes to remove Trump from office when they impeached him. Twice. So many are calling this impeachment theater. And here I thought nothing could be worse than community theater, watching my elderly neighbor butcher Shakespeare for 3 hours. So even if this impeachment inquiry goes through, it will be about as likely to remove Biden from office as the US military will be able to create a real-life Gundam after attending an anime convention. And in my ongoing attempt to talk about things YouTube considers too controversial while hiding it in gaming content, I have a new episode of Deep Thoughts While Gaming. It's about Baldur's Gate 3, but it's really about identity politics and gender identity. Check it out and let me know what you think. An American Covered wouldn't exist without support from viewers like you. Click that orange button. All it takes is $1 or more per episode. You can also set a monthly limit. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.